Everybody wants a blast of magic, 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 magic. Look up the magic in me.
Welcome back. Time for the next all-new Magician 101, the show for all magicians. A lot of great questions this week. Let's jump right into them. Post your questions down below for next week. We'll give them an answer. Jason Ramsland says, I have a question about your next School of Magic video. Can you do a tutorial on the part of the frayed knot routine where the knot falls off the rope, considering that product has discontinued? I'm going to unfortunately say no, Jason. I'll talk more about that in a moment because I have another, Lumos Magic has another question that's going to tie into it. Lumos Magic question that's going to tie into it is there a way I can purchase Magic Geek's own tricks, example, frayed knot? I asked Chris Ballinger on Facebook through my YouTube 444RR page. I said to him, let me get that up here. I said, just saying, hope all is well with you. I'm loving your YouTube videos. He said, I was wondering, do you think you will ever open up your own small online store so we can buy magic you create? Thanks again, 444R. And he says, probably not. I am working on some new projects which I'll put out through other companies, but it's unlikely, not impossible, but unlikely that I'll open up my own retail shop. And then somebody else asked him, whoops, wait a minute, there we go. Somebody else asked him, will you be selling your own tricks somewhere else? And he says, I'm planning on selling my own tricks elsewhere, but I'm still working out the details on that. So he is going to be selling his own tricks online, and he might put frayed knot back out. That's why I don't want to reveal frayed knot. I can, but I don't want to in case he does put it out somewhere else, because he still owns the rights to that trick. He is the creator of that trick. Magic Geek was just the company that would sponsor that trick to put it out. Anytime it says, like, let's go with Dan Harlan. When it says Dan Harlan's trick in association with, Magic Geek or Penguin Magic or whatever, it's Dan Harlan's trick, even though that Penguin is sponsoring it. Penguin Magic's giving Dan Harlan the money to put out the trick. But Penguin doesn't own the rights to it. Dan Harlan, being the creator, always owns the rights to the trick. No matter what company Dan Harlan or Chris Ballinger or whatever company they put the trick out with, they're just sponsoring the trick, giving him the money to put it out on their site. So, yeah. And also I want to clarify something that I talked about last week in conjunction with Magic Geek. I was doing some internet research online about Magic Geek, and I found Brian Sutherland's LinkedIn page. If you don't know what LinkedIn is, it's like your online portfolio. It's like your resume online kind of deal. And Brian Sutherland has a new job. He has a new job, and Magic Geek's never going to come back because the date for Magic Geek is September 2014 was when they say that Magic Geek ended. So Brian Sutherland has moved on from Magic Geek, and that really annoys me. Brian, if you're watching this video, I don't know if you are or not, but if you are, tell us what happened, please. I'd like to know. So we'll see what happens. I don't know, but just to let everybody know, in case there's a shadow of a doubt, maybe you guys are thinking, oh, it might come back. It's not. Brian has moved on. He's found a new job. That annoys me. All right, so the next question Lumos Magic has is, do you have any pets? Yes, I have a dog named Molly, and you've seen her before. She was on a YouTube video. Name of the video is New Member of the 444RR Team, so go check that out. Finally, what is your favorite stage trick? All right, my two favorite stage tricks are, if I had to choose, I love doing the straitjacket escape. I had a video, and I wish I still had it, but my computer crashed, as you all know. And I lost that video of me doing the straitjacket. I retooled it a little bit because I found a switchblade comb. It's not really a blade. It's just it looks like a pocket knife, but you flip it open and it's a comb inside. And I use that in my routine and some other things. But unfortunately, I don't have that anymore. So that video, so I can't show it off. And my other favorite stage trick is the nest of boxes. I love that one. And Lumos Magic says, P.S. When did you start Magic? I started back in 2007, and I've loved every single moment of it. I've never said, oh, I hate doing magic. I wish I didn't get into this profession. But it's a lot of fun to do, and it's a great little hobby, too. Even if you don't want to do it professionally, you just want to do, you want to know a couple card tricks, it's just to impress friends, it's still a great hobby as well. All right. Let's see. Oh, yes. Purple Pink Lego 11 also says, I did not want to ask this question, but do you think Magic Geek is gone for good? That was the best magic shop ever. Yes, as I just mentioned, Brian Sutherland's found a new job, and Magic Geek is now gone forever, which kind of annoys me because I wish they would have given some advice or some explanation to their loyal customers, because it's not like Magic Geek was this little hole-in-the-wall joint that maybe, 10 or 20 people shopped at and they don't care. It was a major worldwide magic shop. People from all over the world shopped there, and I think Brian should have owed us an explanation saying, yeah, this is what happened. Either I went bankrupt or something. I just wish he would have given us some explanation to why they closed. But I digress. I'm going to ramble here if I continue on any more about that. Mr. Tadpole221 says, what is your least favorite part of performing magic? Is it at all? And what is the most awkward situation you've been in magic and or non-magic related? I am actually going to answer answer just the magic question, because I really have had some really awkward magic situations. All right. My least favorite part of performing magic is always hecklers. I think it's every magician is hecklers. That's the only thing. And sometimes hecklers don't bother me. It's the hecklers when I'm doing, like, let's say street magic, and there's a group of 20 people, 19 of them for a magic trick all go, wow, how did you do that? And you can tell they're genuinely baffled. And then that one person goes, oh, well, he just took 2 cards together as one and did something called a double lift. And it's like, you ruined it for 19 people. You can't keep your mouth shut, and you have to ruin it for all 19. I don't like that. I really don't. When one person ruins it for all other 19, that's what really gets my goat in magic. If you're gonna reveal the trick, just keep your mouth shut, because there's no point to reveal a trick. I don't like that at all. That's my one thing. But hecklers are all right to me sometimes. But it's those people who it's like their sole purpose is to try to ruin your show and make it a bad experience. And as magicians, we have tough jobs. It's not like a musician who goes out and sings a song, and it's not as tough because we have to go out and we have to constantly fool people. We're the only profession in the entertainment business that has to go out and constantly fool and be different each time. Because, a singer can go out and sing any song and be all right, and get money. Because singers, if you go to like a boardwalk and you look at a singer and look at their tip jar or their tip, whatever they're using, mostly it's their like guitar case, you can see that they get a lot more money than a lot of the other performers on a boardwalk, because it doesn't take much to go out and sing. As long as you have a good voice, you're golden. It doesn't matter what song you sing. It doesn't matter how you sing, what style. Magic, you always got to fool people, and you got to be on top of your game. All right, Mr. Tadpole also says, what is the most awkward magic situation you've been in? Honestly, this is a lot of magicians. It's when people forget their cards. It's always awkward, because then you on the fly have to change something. Normally what I do in a trick, if I'm just having them pick a card and then their card jumps to the top of the deck or something and they forget it, if they're like, what? So name your card out loud, and they're like, oh, I forget it. Then, that's okay, because then I say, oh, well, was it and it's on top of the deck, and they're like, yes. I always try to have a backup situation if I can. Now, if it's a trick where they forget their card and, there's no way that I could get out of it, because, like if they're the only one who looks at the card and they forget it, that's awkward. In other awkward situations, if your trick doesn't work or you flash something, something really big. Sometimes if you flash, you can kind of get out of it. But if it's like a huge flash, it's hard to get out of it. So, that's kind of a tough thing. So flashing or having somebody forget their card is the worst thing. Or forgetting your patter too. That's also awkward too. When you're in the middle and you're like, Yeah. Like if I do Sam the Bellhop and I'm in the middle of it. Now I know Sam the Bellhop cold. I could say it in my sleep. That's how much I know. But if I, let's say, forget a line in it, I'm like, that's also awkward as well. I've had that happen a couple times when I was starting to do that trick when I first started in Magic. All right, Brendan Shepard has the final question. You changed your name too, Brendan. It used to be BX Shep TV. Now it's Brendan Shepard. He says, "Hey Bob, I was thinking about asking for the nest of boxes for Christmas. What would be a good trick? Would that be a good trick for a talent show setting? And what are a couple of techniques you have found to work when performing that illusion? Thanks." Okay. First of all, you gotta get one Nesta box set. That is the No Assistant Nesta boxes, made by David Chevette. I think is how you. Oh gosh, I don't want to butcher that name, but I think it was David Chevette. Just type in No Assistant Nesta boxes. That is the best one to get. There's other ones where you need an assistant to load in the secret object. You have to actually physically get the object. Let's say it's a ring. You make it vanish. You got to go backstage and hand it off to somebody who loads it in, and then the boxes come on stage. The best thing about that no assistant version is you actually can have the box on stage the whole time. It can be hanging above the stage. You can give it to somebody before the show. The awesome thing is, I wouldn't do it because the trick is so expensive, but in the instructions, David Chevette said you could mail the boxes to your venue months or weeks before you go on. So if you're scheduled to go on, you could have it mailed to them and say, nobody touched this. And you could bring the, like whoever got, like the president of the company or whatever. Or you could give it to, you talking about a talent show setting, you can give it to your school principal and say, Principal, Smith, hold on to this box for me until the talent show. I'm going to call you up on stage. Make sure nobody gets into that. He could watch the box for weeks, and then he could verify no one's touched it. And then boom, there's whatever inside. So I like the no assistant Nesta boxes. The only bad thing is it is pretty pricey. It's about, I think, like $500 for those. So it's pretty pricey, but it's definitely worth it. If you do a lot of performing, it's going to pay for itself in no time. Great for talent show, because since a talent show is almost like a stage setting, it works perfectly. And the best thing is there's not really bad angles on it, which is awesome. You can kind of almost do this trick surrounded, almost. They really can't be behind you in the trick, which is with a lot of Magic, but they can be to the sides, they can be in front, and they won't be able to see the trick. I do love the no assistant Nesta boxes. What are a couple techniques you have found to work when performing that illusion? It's personal preference. It's personal preference. One thing that I do is I'll have the box given to somebody. So I'll have it out in the audience and I'll say, and then throughout the routine, I can't take credit for this because some magician did this with his Nesta boxes routine. But he would give the box out to somebody, and throughout the show, he'd say, who has the box? And he would make the person jump up and down, wave their arms, and say, I have the box, I have the box. So that's something you can do, and it gets a laugh when somebody's sitting there like this, and they're kind of just staring blankly or whatever, and then you say, who has the box? And they just kind of are like, and you're like, who has the box? And they're like, oh, and then they really realize you called for it. That gives you a lot of good comedy. It makes people laugh. When I bring the assistant up on stage, I use B.O.B.'s I've Got the Magic in Me song. And I play that, and I do a little dance break in between, and I have the spectator, I say, now your turn to dance. And they dance a little bit, and it gets a laugh for them too. I always like to throw a lot of laughter into my show, but it's personal preference. You just got to kind of play around with the boxes if you get them and see what works. But I would recommend asking for that. The only bad thing is if you get there are cheaper versions of the Nesta boxes that are like $100. The only thing is they're not going to be as well made. They're kind of like gift box material, so they're not going to last you, I don't think, as long, because the no assistant Nesta box is made from an ATA style case. So it's going to hold up and it's going to last you a really long time. So I recommend getting that. But like I say, it's kind of pricey, but it's definitely worth it, especially if you got into a lot of performing. If you're thinking about this version for one trick, just to do it once, it's not going to be plausible to actually go out and get the no assistant version. But you can definitely go out and get the $100 version if you're going to do it once. But if you're going to use it in all of your like birthday shows and everything, then yeah, I would recommend getting the no assistant version. And I do use the no assistant nested boxes in my birthday shows, stage shows, so it definitely will pay for itself if you perform a lot. All right, that's going to do it for this week. Sorry it was such a long one. There was a lot of great questions that need to go in detail. All right, make sure to post your questions down below for next week. I'll give them an answer, and I'll see you next Wednesday. If you'd like to see more awesome content, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. New videos are posted every day of the week. Also, check out my website and register so you can post in the forums. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, like me on Facebook, add me to your Google Plus circles, and check out my merchandise store to pick up some awesome swag. 444RR, game shows, magic, and more.